Good morning, everybody. This is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today, I am joined by Bellator's MMA fighter, Bryce Logan. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I can't complain. Before we get into your journey as well as about the fight next week, can you give my viewers some words of encouragement for today?
Oh man, that's a tough one every day. But um, just get out there and get up and do it. That's kind of my motto. It's easy to sit around and feel sorry for yourself, but if you get up and just start doing what you need to do for the day, a lot of times you find that you forget about all the worries and all the BS that's trying to hold you down.
Thank you for those words of encouragement. So, first and foremost, what inspired you to get in MMA?
I was a high school wrestler, and a couple of my classmates in high school when I was 18 kind of pushed me into trying it out just at the amateur level. And as I was graduating high school in about 2008, and at that time, the UFC was just kind of really growing in popularity, and there were some local fighters to South Dakota that were doing really well. Brock Lesnar being one of the most visible ones from South Dakota, and yeah, it was starting to be seen a lot more on mainstream TV, and it looked like something that I would like to do. My uncles were competitive boxers back in the day, and I just saw it as a way to combine the two sports into one. And I started doing it at 18 and 13.
It seemed like we had lost you for a second. What have you learned about yourself in this journey?
The biggest thing I've learned about myself is that I'm able to compete with some of the best guys in the world and win against some of the best guys in the world. I used to kind of doubt myself as an athlete in high school, thinking maybe that I didn't necessarily deserve to be a state champion, or I didn't deserve to be at the top of the podium when it came to certain sports. But fighting has shown me that literally anybody, through hard work and dedication, can carve out and make themselves a champion.
And now you have like a lot of support from your community as well as your family. What does that mean for you to go out there each and every time you get in the ring and fight for not just yourself, but for your community?
Man, that's everything. I come from a big family. I'm actually one of 11 kids back in South Dakota, and not just them, but the amount of support that I get from the people of South Dakota every time that I do fight, it blows me away every time how many people are invested in my success in this sport and are willing to help when the time comes. Whether that's buying T-shirts or putting out sponsorships or whatever it may be, just to make my journey a little bit easier. I'm constantly blown away by the amount of support that I receive from my community and from my family. They're honestly the reason I've been able to keep at this so long and keep pushing through has been because of that support that I've received.
Now, how excited are you about your fight next week with Michael Hamlin, and what makes him so dangerous in the octagon?
Man, I'm super excited. I know that this will be my first fight in front of fans in almost 2 years, and so I'm excited to feel that energy from the crowd again. South Dakota always brings a high level of energy to the arena. The Sanford Pentagon's one of my favorite places to compete at. They always pack that place out with 4 to 5 thousand fans, and the fans are very knowledgeable about the sport, and they enjoy coming to see the fights. So there's always great energy in the arena. Mike Hamill is a game opponent. I know he's a collegiate wrestler, and he's a pressure fighter. He likes to come forward and apply pressure to his opponents, and I'm excited for the challenge. I think that's where he poses the biggest threat, is if I allow him to continue to come forward and fight his style of fight. It's on me to impose my will and maybe take him off his game a little bit.
What do you think you have improved from the last fight?
Man, it's hard to narrow it down to one thing. It's been 10 months since I last competed, and I've gotten the opportunity to work with a ton of top level guys that have come through Fight Ready, preparing for their fight camps. And I always, every time I get a chance to work with those guys, I try to take a little bit of each of their styles and their games that they bring. And, you know, they'll always show me a few things. And if I can find one thing from every guy that comes in there to add to my game, I feel like I'm doing enough to continue to grow. But I think my biggest gains have probably just been in fight IQ and understanding how judges score rounds, how judges see different aspects of the fight game, and then what I need to do as a fighter to, you know, to win rounds, you know, because at this level you can't count on knocking every guy out. You can't count on getting a submission every time out. So you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not improving your fight IQ and learning, you know, how judges are scoring these rounds and what they're placing more weight on. So I think that's kind of what I've focused a lot on the last year, is just improving my fight IQ and knowing what situations I need to avoid and what situations the judges are looking for inside of each individual round, and how to win rounds to make sure that I'm winning fights.
So people that are not familiar with your fighting style, what can fans expect watching you in this fight?
You know, I try to bring an exciting style every time I'm out there. I grew up a wrestler, but I've really come into my own as a striker over the last several years. You know, I won the LFA title last July, basically with just my striking and my movement. And you know, being known as a wrestler, people always assume that you're behind in the striking game, and I honestly feel like, with my uncle's boxing background, I've always had an interest in boxing, and it was something I watched growing up my whole life. You know, my striking ability has grown leaps and bounds since moving over to Fight Ready and starting to work with Coach Eddie Cha and our boxing coach Alan Veers, and even Santino, Coach Santino DeFranco has some really good sneaky Muay Thai techniques that I've really picked up on. And so you know, it's every round starts on our feet. So you can't. It's hard to be just a wrestler in MMA. You know, they don't start the rounds with one guy on his back. Every round starts with striking. So it's important to be well rounded, and it's important to be proficient in that arena as well.
So I know you have alluded twice that you haven't been in the octagon in a while. Are you feeling that type of pressure or excitement? What are you exactly emotionally feeling at this current moment?
You know, I've been doing this for 12 years now, between amateur and professional fighting. It's more excitement than anything. You know, I'm excited to get back in there. And, you know, I talked about this on an interview the other day. Fighting, you only get paid when you fight. So I'm excited, one, to fight, and I'm excited to cash another paycheck more than anything. You know, I held off on going back to traditional work throughout the last year and stayed kind of all in on the fight game, and you know, did some side projects here and there to bring some money in. But, you know, staying committed to the fight game over the last 10 months without a paycheck coming in has got me hungry more than anything. And I'm excited to get back in there. I wouldn't say there's nerves. There's always nerves on competition day, but as of right now, I'm only feeling excitement to get back in there and to do what I've been training to do for.
Now, a lot of people talk about mental health. What do you do in order for you to keep your mental health in order? What steps do you usually take in order to create a positive mindset for you and your family when you're just going through things?
You know, I think it's a product of the team that I'm around, be it the people I have in my household, and then the vibe at the gym at Fight Ready is just, it's such a positive environment to be in, that if I'm having a down day or a bad day, going into training and being around other people that are 98% of the time just positive people, it's hard to keep carrying that negative mindset throughout the day, or the evening, or whatever it may be. But I attribute it to just the people in my everyday life that I'm around. You know, for the most part, you know, everybody has struggles and everybody has things that they have to deal with, but the manner that a lot of the people around me attack those problems with just helps to kind of breed a positive positive environment and a positive outlook on things. That a bad day is just a bad day. It's not necessarily a bad life. And I just have a lot of positive people around me, and that kind of helps set me up to be the same.
Now, taking out of MMA for a second, we just got football back. What does it mean to you to actually see more sports, more fans back in the stands? And do you actually have a team that you're excited of watching, or a player that you're excited of looking at this season if you do watch football?
Oh, I'm a huge football fan. I actually I was a college football player as well in the middle of my MMA career. That's why I was amateur for 4 or 5 years, was so I could maintain my eligibility to play college football. But yeah, I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. My dad,
Ah.
I know, my dad's a Giants fan too. So we've got a battle in the household all the time, because she's a New York Giants fan and I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So we're always fighting over which game's on the TV and who's gonna win and this and that. But yeah, I'm super excited for football to be back, and to see things getting back to normal, at least from a fan standpoint, is it's super positive for me. I love it. I was I was one of the people last year I was visibly upset that there was the possibility that there would be no football, or there would be no, I'm just a huge sports fan in general. So for me, you're taking sports away. I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my time? What am I going to do with free time? But yeah, I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life. They haven't been good to me. I'll be honest with you. They haven't been good to me for the last 25 years. It's been rough. I got spoiled right out the gate when I was young. The Cowboys were in the Super Bowl all the time. They were winning playoff games, and ever since '95, it's been a rough go for the Dallas Cowboys.
And I definitely agree. Like, you're talking to a diehard Eagles fan over here, so.
Oh man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But my last question is, what advice can you give anybody that wants to get into MMA? What advice can you give them, or some tips to actually make it to Bellator or UFC?
Patience is number one. I think a lot of people come into this, well, not necessarily into MMA, but it's just the tendency for people to want immediate gratification for everything now. They want that instant gratification. And it took me 9.5, 10 years to reach Bellator, like, it doesn't happen overnight. There's so many aspects to this sport to learn, depending on your background and what you did growing up. But, if you're expecting to jump into the sport of MMA and be successful and reach the UFC or Bellator level in the first year or two, you're going to be mistaken. You're going to take your bumps along the way, and you gotta learn from your losses, learn from your mistakes, and just commit to consistently showing up for training for, anywhere from 4 to 10 years. Obviously there's the outliers, the guys that are just so talented that they climb those ranks and they get to the next level in 2 years, like we're seeing with Cyril Gane in the UFC. He's only been training UFC or MMA for 3 years, and he's already a heavyweight champion of the world. You have to understand that that's not the norm. You have to make a commitment to the sport and be ready to put in 5 to 10 years of really hard work to get where you want to go.
Thank you for those encouraging words. Before I let you go, where can my viewers or my fans actually follow your journey?
I'm probably the most active on Instagram. At my tag on Instagram is Bryce Logan 155, no spaces, just straight in order there. I'd say that's probably where I'm the most active, and post all the information of my upcoming fights, some snippets of training, and then just my life outside of fighting as well is probably honestly the best place to get the most information about me is, like I said, on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I try to keep that to close family and friends, and I don't post as much stuff about my fighting on Facebook as I do on Instagram. So yeah, that's probably. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I could never figure it out. I just never really got big on the Twitter game. But Instagram is where I'm definitely the most active, and the easiest to find on there.
There you have it, everybody. He's very active on Instagram. First and foremost, good luck on your fight next week. This is Fago Franklin III. You can actually follow me on my Instagram, which is SuperJournalist87. You can actually follow me on my Facebook, which is Fago Franklin III, or either you can Google me, which is Fago Franklin III, and you can see all my interviews that I have done with your favorite celebrities, athletes, as well as sports media personalities. Thank you, Bryce, for coming on. I definitely enjoyed this. And definitely have a blessed one, my friend. Look forward to speaking with you soon.
Yes, sir. You too. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Have a one.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.